It looks like some more bad news is coming down the pipeline for the Marvel Cinematic Universe because it was announced that the director of the upcoming Blade reboot is going to be replaced again. There's been a lot of issues with this Blade reboot pretty much right out of the gate. Going back into this article from the Hollywood Reporter, this is dated July 20th, 2019, where they announced that Mahershala Ali would be playing the character of Blade. Now, I think that's actually a pretty good casting choice for this. He's a good actor. He might be a little bit older for the action stuff, but I still think he has it in him. But if you just think about that for a second here, this is nearly 5 years ago that it was announced that he's going to be playing the character of Blade. It's still another year or so before this movie's scheduled to hit theaters, assuming they don't delay it or anything like that. So that would be 6 years in the entire production span of this movie. And if you think about it, the entirety of phase one of the MCU took the span of 4 years. And I'm talking 2008 for the release of the first Iron Man movie and 2012 for the first Avengers movie. And they're saying that this movie is going to take 6 years to produce, assuming that things go smoothly from here on out. But I personally doubt that. But let's look at this article from The Wrap that's kind of going into details about it. Yann Demange is no longer directing Marvel Studios' Blade, The Wrap has exclusively learned. The parting with the French Algerian filmmaker actually happened a while ago and was entirely amicable. Yeah, they kind of have to say that because he probably still wants to work in the industry. So it's in everyone's interest to make it seem like, no, these are still on good terms and there really wasn't any friction behind the scenes. Demange, best known to date for directing on acclaimed television series Lovecraft Country and Top Boy, was the second director to depart the project after replacing Bassam Tariq. Marvel veteran writer Eric Pearson, who most recently worked on Fantastic Four, is currently working on the Blade script. And it's pretty telling when this movie's been in production for around 5 years, or at least it was announced nearly 5 years ago, and they still don't have a finished script for it yet. Now, granted, there were some hiccups. The writer's strike last year caused delays because people weren't able to work on it. Then it was reported last fall that they're apparently starting over with the script because Mahershala Ali wasn't happy with what they were doing. Apparently, Blade was supposed to be relegated to a fourth male lead where he would have been more of an older mentor role to his character's daughter and his group of female vampire hunters. So I think it is for the best that they're changing it up because something like that would have just been terrible. This really shouldn't be such a difficult thing. It's basically a half human, half vampire killing vampires. That should be something that most people can get behind, and it should be a simple idea, but I don't know. Apparently they were trying to reinvent the wheel and it just wasn't working. So hopefully they're just going to try to go back to the basics because that's all people want. They don't want anything too crazy with it. Just have them killing vampires and we'll be happy. Just kind of like what Wesley Snipes did with his Blade movies. Michael Starbury, Nick Pizzolatto, and Michael Green wrote previous drafts of the script. Now, I don't know how much of their scripts are being in the final result of this or if they're going to be credited with the final result. Usually if a screenwriter or if there's not a significant portion of their work in the final result, then they're not credited for. So we'll just have to wait and see. Mahershala Ali is still attached to star as the half-human vampire hunter. Ali is currently in talks with Universal and Amblin to join the next Jurassic World film. That last bit of information is kind of important because there was rumors circulating that Mahershala Ali will be exiting the project and using his casting in Jurassic World as kind of an excuse. Like, we've heard this 1,000 times before where he'll take on another role and say like, yeah, I think I can do both of them. And then suddenly it's like, oh, there's scheduling conflicts. And since Blade isn't ready, Jurassic World's ready to go, then I'm going to work on this project instead. I mean, it's pretty standard fare when it comes to stuff going on in the industry. So they can leave the project and then the studio can be like, oh, yep, it's not because it was so bad. It's just because things didn't work out. But here, just listen to what this is saying, because like the other article was saying that, yes, he's still attached to star in the role, but just check out some of these rumors that are being reported in this article from a couple of weeks ago and compare them to what they're saying now that they just announced. A recent rumor from Daniel RPK, who is an industry insider, offers writer Michael Green has exited Blade and that significant revisions are happening again. And that's something that they just confirmed. Michael Green is leaving the project. Eric Pearson is coming in to do a bunch of rewrites on the script, said to include the addition of a new male villain, with production possibly pushed back from the summer to the fall. And it makes sense that they'd push back production because they just announced a new director, bringing in a new writer. So it doesn't seem like they're going to be bringing in those people to start production pretty much right away. They announced the summer production quite some time ago. So I think it stands to reason that by bringing in a new director at this stage, they're not going to bring him in just to make him start production pretty much immediately. I think they would at least give him a few months to kind of get his bearings and figure out what he's doing before they start the production of the movie. This is on top of all the previous problems, which include in reported the script featured Blade as a second-rate character in his own movie that focused on female characters. I already talked about that. Now, YouTuber John Campea weighs in and says he heard something similar from the source recently as well, and that he heard it before Daniel RPK. About a week or two ago, I had somebody say to me, somebody relatively connected to the situation, that they had heard that they were right back to square one, that too many of the key players are not happy with the current iteration of the script, said Campea. We don't necessarily know who Campea's sources are in this, and they never said who is reportedly unhappy with the project. All we know is that they got rid of the director, or the director decided to leave and said it was amicable. They are bringing in a new writer for this. It's been reported many times that Mahershala Ali is not happy with what they're doing on it. Says even Kevin Feige might be unhappy with it. So we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but I think it's safe to say, though, there is a lot of friction going on there because it shouldn't take this long to get a movie like this made. And it's not like it was supposed to be super expensive. This is in fact supposed to be the cheapest MCU movie to date because they're trying to cut costs. And I think that's why they're trying to do it this way, where they're hammering out the script instead of wanting to fix it in production, because they don't expect this to make a huge amount of money. So they're trying to do what they can in order to make it work and maximize profit, because this is something that Disney's been having a tough time with lately, losing money at the box office because they've been spending so much on their movies. They need to cut costs in some way, but it really does strike me as they're just trying to struggle and make this work. And I'm thinking even if this movie does eventually get made, it's just going to be like, you know what? We've been working on this for too long. Just get it out there and hope for the best. I hope that's not the case. I would actually like this to be a good movie because I like the character of Blade, or at least I never really read the comics. I like the Wesley Snipes movies, or at least the first two Wesley Snipes movies. So I'm hoping they can actually do justice with this one, because I think Mahershala Ali is good for the role. I think he can play the character. He's a great actor. I think he can even do the physicality of it, even though he's a little bit older. But still, everything that I've been hearing from behind the scenes really doesn't instill much confidence in me, especially in recent MCU, where a lot of the stuff hasn't been very good. So maybe this is them trying to turn over a new leaf and actually go back to giving fans what they want. But it doesn't seem like it should be this hard with this type of a project, but apparently they don't know how to make a half human, half vampire fighting vampires any good. But let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. Do you think Mahershala Ali is going to look for an excuse to leave the project? Do you think this movie is going to be a success, or do you think they're just going to kind of limp out there and hope for the best on this one? And if you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the latest entertainment news. And if you can, click that like button and share the video because it helps out with the channel. Thank you.